Hi folks, want to learn how to make a Grinch tree today? It's really easy. You'll have an assortment of greens in your packet. Might be balsam, might be white pine, might be juniper, but it doesn't matter what you use. You can mix it all up or you can make them in layers. I'm going to start with some white pine today. And this is what white pine looks like here. It's got the really fine needles. And basically we're going to start and think of it as making a skirt all the way around the bottom. So you take the tip of the greens and put them flush with your table, and then take your roll of wire and just wire the greens to the frame. I like to make sure that I'm wiring them onto one of these rings here. You can also wire them to the side, but if you wire at least some of them to the rings, it can be a little tricky to begin with, but this way it won't fall down if you're on the rings. If you see, and that's like this here, it won't slip down, whereas if you've wired it all the way up here, sometimes it can slide down. So you just keep taking some pieces, and it doesn't matter if they're up higher or down further, as long as the tips touch the table. So the tops are all going to be in a different place. And you can wire it sideways. To this up and down piece also, as long as you get some that are attached around the ring. So let me go ahead and do all that, and we'll be back with you in a second. So here's what it looks like when it's all the greens are around at the bottom. Don't worry about it if you can see through slightly. You can fix that afterwards. The most important thing is to just make your way around. You should have used about half of your greens to do this part. So it's always important to just not make it too thick so that you've got enough to finish the project. Like I said, you can always fill in with small pieces later. I did find it easier to mix the balsam and the white pine together. The balsam is this one here that looks like Christmas trees. And sometimes I even put several branches on the bunch together at the same time. So the next part is, if this was the skirt, you want to think about this part as the shirt. And when I do Grinch trees, you can keep going down, but I think it's funner to switch the greens up and turn them facing up. And so these guys can just go in the middle, pointing up. And you can put a couple of different kinds. If the greens are really long, you can cut them as you go. We're going to put some of these guys facing up, and then we're going to start to wrap these. Oh, I don't have this where I want it. We're going to start to wrap these guys on the branches, on the wire, but you can also just go around the whole thing at the same time. So I'm going to put this branch in the middle and just wrap on the outside. It's a lot easier than getting it on the wires. It shouldn't fall down because these branches are going to be held up by the other ones that are inside. So just wrap around the top here and just twist. I'll put a couple of pieces of white pine in there and just go until this fills all the way to the top.
Ready.
So here it is all the way up to the top. Now, I'm only 5 feet tall and I can't reach. So I've got to put it on the ground at this point. So I'm going to take this and move it over to the ground. So that I can reach. Now the next step is to make the little hook at the top, so that's what makes it kind of Grinchy, is that it bends over. So I have a hook here. I have some more greens. And once you get to the top, you can stick the hook in the top. Oh, dropped it. and stick the hook in the top, and then just wind some greens. Put the hook in the top and just wind the wire around the branches and around the hook, and just keep adding more. You actually don't even need this hook, but it might help you if you're not used to working with greens. I'll go around to the top, and then watch. I'm gonna bend this guy down and around. Couple of wraps. Like this. See, now we've got a little hook that comes down, and you can just keep adding to that until you're out of greens. I'm going to go backwards a little bit here, connect this piece, this long piece here back to the original. Just so that there's a little bit of stability. And it doesn't matter how many wraps, and it doesn't matter how thick, and it doesn't matter how thin. It's a Grinch tree after all. It should look a little bit unique and funky. And everybody's is gonna come out different. Go back, secure this a little tighter. And I'm going to go with that one for mine. I'm going to just tuck this wire in here right now. You can just cut the wire and tie it off. And then once you get to this part, it's just up to you how you want to decorate it. I've got a little bit of ribbon, and I usually start at the top and tie it at the tip. Like that. And then wrap it around like you would a garland. Then you can put in, everybody has a star, and star can go at what you consider the top of the tree. And these guys are some circle canes. I love these guys. They just look so Grinchy to me. And I like to put these circle canes so that the swirl comes out of the tree like this, not in the tree, but as if it was coming out of the tree, like there was an explosion. And then you just get all of the ornaments that we set with it. And these guys here can be wired on, or if you have a hot glue gun, you can just hot glue these guys all around, and that's your Grinch tree.